apa ya? Gak tahu aku lihat dulu.
Switcheroo of game 1 draft. But like you were saying there, Kin, Mithy does get his Zhang Fei. Was this the ultimate goal of Loops in game 1 to be like, well, we'll show them the Jing, we'll put the Jing on the table, we'll show them how deadly we are with it, but that leaves us and opens up Mithy's King Pig, the beast himself, Zhang Fei. And then they follow up with Mayin again. So Tempest going for the Mayin, not really bringing the Elaine onto the Gorge, which I feel like if we had the Elaine towards that mid to late game, I honestly think we could have saw some really great Tempest outplays like we saw in the quarterfinals. Yes, but there's a reason why, and that's because of the Ming, right? Ming is able to kind of change the state of the fight instantly with his ultimate as well, giving the life. So longevity for Lady Sun is going to be a huge change in the terms of the fight. And I like the fact that it took out the Nerds along with the Musashi. It just tells you one thing. We want our recovery, we want the health boost, right? Because that is the game state, the kit that both Musashi and Nerza offers to the side of boost, and instantly taken out.
Yang mana bahasa Indonesia ini? Ada nggak?
Yeah, we see the Dharma being picked up here as well, which complements nicely with the Ming also, especially into those team fights. We're not going to see Ming very much early game up into the clash lane with the Dharma, but like...
Honor of King. Maaf, aku lupa. Kita lihat langsung ke bagian YouTube-nya Honor of King ya. Mana ya? Honor of King, mana aja? Aku lupa lah. Honor of King. Pertandingan di Honor of King. Kita dukung ini. Honor of King juga. FF apa ini? Free Fire nih. Honor of King. Oh, itu turnamen Mobile Legend. Enggak, kita nggak peduli turnamen Mobile Legend sekarang nih. Ya Allah. Swear lah ya, yang mana ini? Honor of King. Ih, sumpah lah salah. Nah, ini Honor of King. Mana? Oh, ini nih. Alamak, salah. Ini bukan Indonesia. Yaris. Indonesia. Iya lama. Bahasa lain ini. Mana ini? TRIND. Yang Indonesia yang mana? Aku lupa loh. Gak apa-apa lah, gak apa-apa. Aku gak tahu. Palingan di game aja lah ya. Sampai aku lupa loh ininya. Nama honornya. Ya, coba
to deal with any changes, be adaptable. That's the mark of a strong and a true champion as well. Hopefully Luke will be able to pull this game out, tie it 1-1.
Tapi ya wes lah.
Hopefully they can, absolutely. I mean, Pei may be the reason why they're able to do this, given the spirit of Bruce Lee in the Gorge as well. But Pei, most common combo is that ult to basic attack for 1, and then basic attack. Use the range advantage of his human form to harass the enemies from a distance. Then once their health is low, switch to the tiger form for the kill. And you'll probably see it, especially on a player like ABH. We know that he is silent but deadly. Yep, and you take a look at ABH's playing style. He likes heroes that are very mobile. He likes heroes that do a lot of damage as well. So I think this is a very good synergy of picks. it in his introduction. Musang King, the king of double kills, and putting some respect on his name in game 2.
Yeah, we were waiting for the deadly, but at this point it's just silence coming out from ABH. Not his fault though, because at this point LGD, they have a pretty significant early game as well. This time when they allow the Kaiser to come through, the Invincible Warrior at level 4 makes a huge difference in the way that they can fight. And I like the fact that they put Zuhong going up against Marco Polo, similar to yesterday's games, right? You want AoE against most of these farm lanes. Oh, hang on.
Oh, 3v1 into the clash lane. We saw that getting set up for quite some distance there. We saw that Lady Sun was with the rotation. Siang dashing over the wall for the Dharma. That was just beautifully played by the side of LGD. But this has really made me consider that game 1 really shook up LGD because they pick out a pocket pick like the Ming and they're playing so aggressive into game 2. They're like, oh, we can't pull any more punches, guys. We're in the semi-finals of the Season 2 Invitational. If we doubt the second seed Brazilian team for a second, we could be looking at an L in the semi-finals, which when you battle it so well this far into Season 2 Invitational, you kind of don't want to go out knowing that you didn't do your best.
Well, actually, there's one positive thing you can take a look at Loops, and which is they managed to pull the respect of LGD. Now they're taking it to the next level.
Oh, okay, speaking of next level, then we could be having another next kill up into the clash lane, but Tempest being able to kick away Dharma because Pei being quite close by as well. I feel like that 2v1 would have definitely gone into the favor of Loop Esports in the clash lane, and Lord knows they need a kill on the board because LGD are up with 3 kills there. They're ahead with the gold lead ever so slightly by 1.9k, and again, LGD just playing to their strengths. The Ming pocket pick coming through here. I don't think they've actually picked the Ming up in the rest of the tournament, so this is clearly something they wanted to save for the semi-finals, and something that it's not unusual that we don't see, but it's very rare that the Ming comes through because it's all about sticking to one of these heroes. Ming cannot be reliant on his own. He has to be somewhere with someone.
Yeah, so, playing with the Ming, it requires your draft and your composition to be able to save yourself in the team fights, and it checks the markers for most of the members. In fact, all of the members on the side of LGD. Xiang, of course, 1v1 against Tempest, he's going to have an interesting time, right? Because number 1, he has a level advantage. But more importantly, the reason why they're able to play Ming here is because everyone else has survivability in their kits. Yes. There's iframes, there's life steal, there's health regeneration. Everything makes sense. So that's why the Ming is so potent, so dangerous for the side of LGD.
They say nobody puts Baby in the corner, but LGD with this draft clearly leaves Baby in the corner because all their laners can just self-sustain. Like you said there, Kid, they have escapability, they're able to clear the waves pretty much on their own, and then obviously Kaiser, it doesn't need anybody to hold his hand, but Kank potentially here needing somebody to at least give some assistance, and Mythia was a little bit late there to try and soak up any of that damage or try and bring anything into the favor of Loop Esports. We're seeing that Zeri here was looking to help himself for a little bit of gold, trying to keep a gold or trying to close the goal difference in that farm lane. As we can see, the Lady Sun is already ahead by 0.6k.
Yeah, and at this point, I don't think the Loops can take any fight consistently, all up to the point where maybe Zeri gets his hands on the Doomsday, right? Because at this point, they won't be able to melt down Musang King, who is having fun once again with Mithy. That's not a sight that Loops want to see for sure.
No, yeah, the team that's ahead having fun, that's a recipe for destruction, I think, Kid. Knowing that somebody that's having such a great time in the early game is just trying to still maintain and have fun, that's hard to sort of play around because they're not going to be tense. They are just going to be going with the tempo, and the tempo is clearly here for the side of LGD, taking the T1 turret as the first turret in Game 2 to fall here, which we all know this far, but those at home may not. The mid T1 is detrimental to your team because it then opens up those that fall to the T1. Your jungle is now open to the enemy team. You're open to more susceptible ganks as well. But here we are. There is a 4v5 currently going place here. There we go. ABH, like we know him in game 2, taking a kill for the side of Loops and still soaking the damage is the Zhang Fei. Keeping Kank in the team fight is able to pick off the Dharma as well. So they may take the T1, but it looks like LPS are here to take their Azure Golem and potentially push this T2 in the farm lane.
Yeah, love this gameplay by Loops. This is one of the ways to recover as well. Just to, ignore the tanky people. Let's just go for the ones that we can burst down, and that's exactly what they did. They got JR the lead button instantly, got the kill, and that changed the whole fight because there isn't a lot of consistent damage. Let's take a look at how that went down.
Yes, look at this beautiful replay. Just keeping Musan King away from the squishy heroes on the side of LGD. Loops just know how to navigate this. They have the satnav. They have LGD's coordinations, and they know how to navigate that team fight. And that was clearly stated by what we just saw there in the replay. So I think Loops just need to offer a little bit more of that. Some more of that spicy Brazilian flavor of that team fight will keep them definitely considered in this best of 5, but they are going to lose that T1 up into the clash lane. Musan King going in here as well. We're already seeing to the back line of Pei trying to take down one of their high damage dealers, but we see that Miffy is able to give some support. It's all going around. This is your golem. They were able to take it though. So Loops not actually losing anything in that team fight, not even an Azure Golem.
Yep, they have to be careful about Mithy. At this point, he does have half his health left, so they can't actually take too many fights unnecessarily at this point. They will try and look for one of the members on the side of Loops.
Yep, Tempest sitting like a, I don't know what in that brush. I mean, I would not want to be there, but luckily for the side of Loops, the LGD just did not have the intel that they need, but pushing back is the Mai, and there's the ultimate shell from Lady Sun coming through, taking down Kanka once again in the clash lane here, but okay, Tempest coming through. He played the waiting game. He takes down JR, and down goes. Oh, okay, no, they're able to escape. I thought Ming, it was going to be a Ming Vase there in that team fighting and smashed, but no, he was able to flash over the wall as that was a beautiful patience. Patience is a virtue, kid.
Oh, for
and
sure.
Loops displayed it. Well, okay, patience. Speaking of patience, we saw LGD play the same patient game, picks off the Pei, which, to be honest, taking down JR or taking down your enemy jungle now that the second tyrant is up, I think that is not an equal trade.
Yeah, and you know what? At this point, Loops, I think they might be able to do it here. They do have the Doomsday going to the hands of Zeri already. He's already halfway towards his Regime charge as well. He will be able to survive a couple of fights. Right now, it's really about the burst potential coming in from LGD. If they manage to get the best destructive deluge, it might change the game for Loops. But likewise, for the side of Loops, if they're able to make sense of their combination again, that unbridled outburst into the whatever number 1 coming out from Tempest, it will change the fight in positive relations for the side of Loops.
Yeah, I mean, already showing into game 2, I feel like the Mai Shiranui may be something they might want to relax on, because it seems like the Mayins basically taking the function of the Mai Shiranui. Yes, not as much damage, but able to sort of separate the team fights. It seems like it's been tried and tested a little bit too much here. Miffy taking a lot of damage already in this early team fight without none of his dependents nearby, but already resetting the tyrant is already looking for a promising start here. Are they going to try and take it, try and combat, and try and go for a tyrant this time around? Because last game they did not get a single one, but Xiang taking Tempest down the back of the Shadow Tyrant camp as well. So already looking at the handicap team fight if they do decide to take this, but JR doing his macro plays that he's well known for in the farm lane, looking to try and take a high ground turret, which would be at a huge detriment for Luke Esports going into the 11th minute mark.
And this is why LGD is so scary, right? They always make the checkmate plays here. Yes, you know what? We take a look at Miffy's ultimate, Unbridled Outburst still up. We don't commit, right? We don't commit for the tyrant. We win the fight, we go for the tower. Oh, you're coming for the tower? No worries, we'll go back and take the tyrant. It's always one step ahead of Loops at this point for LGD.
has destroyed.
Yeah, there's always multiple objectives in their mind, and they are able to keep focus on all of them. They know how this works. It's not their first dance. It's not their first rodeo, and this is showing it in a game 2. We saw Loops with some promising engages. We saw Tempest sitting patiently in the brush on the side of the Clash lane, was able to pick off, but speaking of getting picked off here is that higher ground turret in the Clash lane. A lot earlier in game 2 for the side of LGD, and for the side of Loops, they are nowhere near a high ground turret, and Tempest being taken down there by Siang once again. They've fool me once, but you don't fool me twice on the side of LGD. There is no patiently waiting in the bush. If Mayin's not there, they're checking all nearby brushes, baby, because that's not happening again. They fell for it once, and it's not going to happen again on the side of LGD Gaming. And they're already at the Crystal. They're in your home. They are invading their Musan King with a great engage, keeping the Mithy away from the rest of his team, and that is game 2 taken by LGD once again.
Yep, what a show of strength coming out from LGD. Very, very convincing gameplay, and you can see, right, Loops at this point, they are kind of lost. They had a decent draft, and you know, you could already see from the midst of the game, they knew how to win that game, but LGD just did not allow that opening. Right, the moment Ming used his longevity, it was game over for the side of LGD. But once they got caught twice with the same combination, LGD never opened that door ever again.
Nope, they had it on the latch. It was peeping through the little slit within the door. It was like, no, we're not letting you in. Slam the door. And then reverse the roles. Instead of being broken through from the outside, they broke in from the inside and just completely decimated one too many of those team fights on the side of LGD. But again, I do have to give props to Loops. They are putting up a phenomenal fight here. Game 1 looked a little bit stronger for them, especially in the early to mid game. And then towards game 2, we saw a glimmer of hope in the mid game, but nothing from there, because it seems like they lacked in the macro. There wasn't really much presence in the lanes, it seems, this time around, but the team comp wasn't really orientated in that way, I feel, on the side of Loop Esports.
Yep, I think they were more focused on trying to win the objectives, right? Mythi's Zhang Fei looking for the unbridled outburst. At the moment where Tyrant was going to fall low, they would have secured it. ABH doesn't miss his smites for sure. But nonetheless, I think LGD already were in their heads, so it's pretty clear what they were aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, for them to bust out the Ming in the second game really shows that Loops were in their heads, and they played a fantastic game 1. Game 2, however, like I said, just a glimmer of hope, but nonetheless, LGD just absolutely taking it once again. And it seems like the red side, especially LGD, that is, they love locking in the dual ladies. The dual ladies just able to sustain the lanes their own. They have escapability, like you were saying, Kin, in the match, and that leaves open the possibility for the Ming pick. And showing that it is such a triumphant pick, Ming really shining through there, not dying once, because he's always latched to a hero, but there was just no way that either the Mai, the Pei, or even the Mayin was able to just keep Z away from JR or the rest of the team.
Yeah, for sure. If you take a look at the itemization, he went for the Crimson Shadow straight into Guardian, right, which I love. That's a lot of shield. He also has the Dawn Light, so he gives two times a shield, and probably building towards the Twilight Stream because of his glide, right? So glide, when he connects to the opponent, will be able to damage them as well, lowering their magic resistance and increasing your magic pierce. So I expect a pretty even damage output coming out from the side of LGD. As you can see, yes, it is equal across the board, and all they had to do was to really just walk them down. It was like a lawnmower. You're cutting grass, right? You're mowing them bit by bit, and once the vice grip was on the throats of Loops, there was no recovery, because you're stifling the growth, you're restricting the movements. Everything went into the favor of LGD.
Yeah, it's really funny that we saw those the pre-game stats about the team fight rate, and it already shows here, tried and tested, that Loops are very much sort of like a band of brothers when it comes to their team fights, because 100% and then 66. Don't worry, we will be there for you if we need to. We'll get to you. Don't worry, we will always be there in your mind, in the spirit. Whereas Loops is definitely more of a physical, be together band of brothers, and it shows there within that team fight rate. But the gold graph, baby, showing a completely different picture, but nonetheless a very accurate picture for game 2.
Oh, for sure. Now the big question is, for Loops, should they change the play style? Should they change the style of strategy for winning? Because Loops, as we have already seen, they have displayed that they love to fight. They want to win the game through the fights. But LGD knows this, and they pick their fights very carefully against Loops, winning each engagement. So should Loops take a look at trying different things, trying it a different style?
Yeah, this is the thing I picked up with my my preparation for this match, is that obviously the Lady Jen was a highly contested pick between both of these teams, and the pocket pick for Loops this far was obviously the Mai. But speaking of the MVP, we are going to be seeing that it is the Dharma pickup this time around. So it's swapping from side lane to side lane. We see that Xiang with those fantastic backlining gauges from the Dharma, only dying once but dealing 31.4k damage, and only literally slipping out there with only taking a little bit of a bump on the chin with that 13k damage. And then obviously the 8k gold. I'm not going to go into 0.9 gold. That's a little bit more charitable, but the 8k gold there on the side of LGD, Xiang giving him MVP of game 2.
Oh, for sure. He did a very good job of controlling the opponent and counterpart clash lane. You're going to see that gameplay as well. LGD just being a absolute unit.
Absolutely. And we are seeing here these first blood replays from the side of LGD, because Loops in game 1 was able to successfully take them down in the game 1. First blood, but LGD was like, hey, we've got your number, baby. We are going to call you, and that call is going to be the result of first blood. But here is where we saw that glimmer of hope. It didn't really do much for them on the side of the gold graph, because it wasn't dominant enough, or there was no sort of after effect for Loop Esports from that great engage onto the side of the Azure Golem. But it was a glimmer of hope, to say the least, for them. But I'm not too sure what they can do drafting into game 3. Like I was saying, the Mai was normally their pocket pick, but because Lady Shen on the side of LGD is getting locked in with those first 2 picks on the red side, it's kind of hard for them to go and sort of try a different mage in the mid lane. No, thinking of the Princess Frost, the Angela, it just always seems to be the Mai.
I think maybe they can give a change to the Mai as well. I like the draft of Loops, to be honest, but I think the way they have executed it was just lacking in comparison to what LGD was offering, right? It was very clear that it was a control coming out from Xiang, especially onto this Mayan, which made the worlds different. So maybe it's just, like I said, a different execution for the side that makes LGD just that much better, which will allow them, of course, a much better standing in the Esports World Cup. And that's what I'm going to be segueing into. It is going to be our Mobile Esports Game of the Year Awards. We hope you can support us with Honor of Kings. All you have to do is to go to the esportsawards.com. Bear in mind, every vote that you cast is not just helping the game, it's helping people like us as well, like Blam and myself, because you make us a little bit happier, make our day.
Absolutely, it gives us a better standing in the Esports Awards, and I definitely got a few people to do it yesterday as I was watching the game, like go and support it. And with that, we also have our community event, which is for you guys to earn a little bit back for supporting the Honor of Kings game and esports. So go and follow us on all the social medias, as you can see below, and you have a chance to win some gaming gadgets, potentially a GT20 Pro, as well as some earphones and a watch. I mean, who doesn't love free gadgets, right? Just go follow. It takes a literal second of your time, and you may be a winner of one of these fantastic gadgets.
That's right. Now, if you ever have difficulty or you're unsure of how you're supposed to try these products, you can send them over to me. I will help you test it out as well, and we'll see. But nonetheless, jokes aside, do have fun with the gifts, the rewards that we're giving away for subscribing to us for Honor of Kings as well. Let's take a look at the third game, potential game ender for the side of LGD.
Yes, I mean, I really hope it's not their hand here. I really hope it's not a full steam ahead at 3-0 for LGD. I feel like Loops at least need to get a point on the board for this to be even considered a semi-finals match. But that's not to say that LGD are not the it team. I mean, they are a fantastic team, and they've showed it for all of the Season 2 Invitational as well.
Let's take a look at the heads-to-head. ABH against Musan King. It is going to be a slight difference in terms of the KDA. Musan King, obviously, with the number of games that they've played and how clinical they've been. 12.8 KDA for the side of Musan King against ABH. GPM-wise, gold per minute, I think they're pretty much even, right? And damage per minute as well. And they have shown 6 different heroes till date. So what do you think about this, Blam?
Yeah, it just shows that they have a tight selection of heroes within their jungle. I mean, they're definitely revered because that Jing was banned in Game 2 for ABH as well, so Musan King clearly did not want to be going against the Jing in Game 2, but even so, both of these players, I'd probably say Musan King most than ABH, has really shown that they can only play tanks, they can also play the assassins, like we just saw Musan King there. Fantastic daddy figure of LGD gaming in Game 2. Just being able to have a great front line start of a team fight, being able to soak so much damage and then just allow for his team just to pick off the rest. But I have to give props over here to ABH because I don't think there's any other jungler that would be as close as gold per minute to Musan King in the entire tournament than ABH.
Oh, for sure. I mean, at this point, right, I hope Loops can figure out the formula on how they are supposed to break LGD down, because LGD looks so monstrous, right? They look so strong, but, you know, Loops consistently in every game is showing other teams that LGD is breakable. They do have the ability to be crippled. And now all Loops has to do is to take advantage once they, you know, figure out what that chink in the armor is.
Yeah, I just have to say for Loops as well is that if this is obviously the end of the road for them in this Game 3, they have already played against LGD now in a very competitive scene on stage. It's not just been a scrim, they've played against them in a no-holds-barred match. And knowing this information...
Kalau kalian pengen tahu, aku login di ininya itu pakai nama timku. Kalau aku bisa pakai akunnya mereka, aku udah males gitu. Aku suka orang buka film. Kedua, Assassin itu lebih buat filmnya. Kedua, Assassin itu tidak pernah menyerah di tempat pedang dua. Udah masuk semua. Barusannya udah masuk. Oke, pertandingan selanjutnya Ntar dulu aku mau makan dulu. Si Indra bohong terus gitu ya, serius. Katanya mau masuk, iya, mana ada masuk ya. Oh iya, lupa, kita nonton turnamennya dulu. Dari tadi turnamennya udah
Gonna mean that she activates a lot sooner, especially when she gets those items. So playing her in the mid lane against the Mai Shiranoya, especially paired with Ming as well, I think is probably a really good strat here for the side of the LGD. We do see the teleport mechanic come through on the side of LGD as well. Musang King is already looking pretty prevalent in the bot side, stealing a little bit more gold. It looks like they're trying to set up a perfect storm for when this tyrant, the first tyrant of the game, shows up.
Yep, LGD already showcasing a slightly better understanding, right? And giving the best win conditions possible for the side of the teammates, because there's huge wave clear, there's huge burst coming in, and they will not be able to kill him. Set still.
Oh, Sun C looking at 2v1 here. Mai pushing away, but that was the getaway card. Oh no, Kank. There's too many kicks away, Kin. Too many kicks away, and Sun C gets to live to see another day.
I thought he was gone. I legit thought he was gone.
Honestly, the set sail, I mean, he didn't even set sail, but he definitely set sail that his dreams of being able to escape in that 2v1 situation on the side of LGD. So props to LGD for getting out of there, but a little bit of a overly aggressive kicks from Loops, it seems. Obviously, yes, it was aided by the flash on the side of LGD, but it was, they could have definitely closed that out before he even got to flash. But we see that Fang is trying to clear this bot lane. Lady Shen still prevalent down into the bot lane as well, whereas Lady Sun is keeping it calm and collective in the mid lane, so she gets more gold. But Xiang going in for another dose of death. The ultimate shell white connect there onto ABH, but oh, Ming getting the first blood. What a violation to give your support player the first blood in game 3 of the semi-finals, kid.
Yep, and with Glide, I mean, okay, Glide does some damage, but what was that last hit?
Oh, okay, Zia goes down, they pay for it, they take penance from the side of Loop Esports. Mithy is in there soaking a lot of damage, and Dune is not a hero that can deal a lot of damage, but with Lady Sun, the dual ladies by his side, walking him down the lane, they are able to get this tier 1 turret in the mid lane very early on from Loop Esports, but they're still not done. The Azure Golem does go down, Luna is able to keep it up though. Sun C was looking for a victim on his boat, and Fang could be the one. Oh, they was checking the bush. I think that was probably a really good call because they're able to pick up the Crimson Golem now from Elite Esports.
Yep, so just playing around with the map objectives at this point. Let's take a look at the growth of the items. Already building halfway into was the Long Night Guardian for the side of Dun. So Musang King already very tanky, along with the Patrol X as well. Itemization for the growth, it looks like Lady Chen has the Stone of Sorcery already, so some minor bursts coming in. But more importantly, on this Lady Sun, Mr. JR so close towards that Eternity Blade already.
Yeah, you can already see the efforts of trying to gain as much gold as he could in the early game, especially with the help of Ming, is just enabled him to get that Eternity Blade a little bit quicker than Loops would have hoped for. But Tempest looking for a tried and tested tactic here in the bush, looking for a bit of a patient play. We also see that Kank is there as well. Okay, she goes into the bush. JR was a little bit unsuspected. Ming is all on his own as well, but is he going to be able to escape? No. Yes, he is able to escape. What is Loops doing? They are just letting these slippery heroes get out of there, but what is not getting out of there is Fang. Sherry falling down. Mithy looking to be the next victim of LGD, but he's able to use the Unbridled Rage to jump over the wall to escape as well. So both of these teams are letting some heroes slip here, which is could be a detriment for them. Luna was sitting in that bush just hoping that they wouldn't come there for that Azure Golem, but she does lose the Azure Golem buff. So blue buff for Luna is not going to be in this part of the game.
It's a tough one for the side of Loops, but they still have the potential to come back right now. Oh, once again, nice catch.
Oh, nice catch there for Tempest, but Sunsea is very close by setting sails onto the Mayin, but isn't able to claim a kill because with Sunsea, he has a great defense, but his early game attack damage is probably not the best to go 1v1 against the Mayin, especially a hero that can HP regen just by standing still. He's able to get shield as well, but fortunately over to the side of Loop Esports, they're able to take the farm lane T1, so they are no longer turretless. They're able to take some turrets on the side of LGD as well, hopefully trying to get this Overlord from themselves, but we see that Siang is very much close by. He knows what's going on here. Sunsea was waiting for ABH to come over the wall, and nothing comes of it. We do see the Overlord is taken down thanks to Zeri, though, so paying dividends to the Fang pick this time around, able to close a jungle objective on the side of Loop Esports.
Yep, so this is the thing, right? You never count Loops out. I really like the draft. It shows you the possible win conditions, right? Tempest, if he's able to get JR away from Zhe, no links available, he can kill him almost instantaneously. At the same time, ABH will be able to jump into the backlines with the Crescent Slice, with the passive, with the New Moon as well. So you can see the benefits, you can see the merits. Right now, it's just, can they even up the farm? Can they get the equal experience as well to be able to stand toe-to-toe?
Yep, I thought that Mithy was able to get the smite edge there for the Azure Golem on the side of Loops Esports, but not quite. We did see that Dune was able to pick that up thanks to the Unbridled, the Unruly Blade. And there's the set sail. He's looking for those stray from the team fights. He is not wanting a gank from the Mayin or the Mai Shiranui here, or even the Luna. There's this potential gank central from the side of Loop Esports, and to be honest, Sunsea is the best hero to counter that because he can just check those bushes really fast. If he does secure and lands on a target, it's pretty much game over for these squishier heroes.
Yep, and it feels like we're already in the late game status of the game, but it's only 8.5 minutes, and it feels like, LGD just have such a strong lead, even though it's just 3,000 gold ahead. And, one of the things that I put as a marker is, can they force out the longevity from Zhe? And so far, in this game, the Loops have not been able to force that hand yet. And that tells you volumes here, once again, 101.
One-on-one, Tempest in the clash lane, not really going anywhere with that one, but we've seen it once or twice, the 1v1s against Sunsea and the Mayin, and it's not quite as fruitful as we'd like it to be, or action-packed. But speaking of action-packed, we do see that the Tyrant goes over to the side of Loops. They do lose the clash lane T1, however, for the trade of the Tyrant, but I suppose when you've gone from such weak jungle games from game 1 to game 2, getting those Tyrants is going to make LGD sweat a little bit more because of that damage output. We see that JR is putting a lot of pressure onto Tempest and looking to try and take this T2, so the Tyrant trade for T2 into the clash lane, I don't think that's becoming a positive trade for LGD right now, because that high ground turret is now open up to LGD.
Yep, so definitely not fair, right? LGD looking so strong at this point. And yes, they are strong, but Loops, they still have one entry point, right? So the benefit of playing against a Ming and Lady Sun combo is probably most of the time they will be together. If they can set up ABH as well as Kanka to really come in at the same time, catch both of them, it could be an instant melt, right? So I'm hoping to be able to see that from Loops. We'll see if they can find that positioning, and that opens up the doors for Zeri to really try and split the fight, get the kills on maybe the Lady Sun as well, maybe even Xiang. Musang King out of the picture at this point.
Yeah, look at that gold difference across the board. All pretty much go in favor of LGD bar the clash lane. It's very close in the mid lane and very much close in the farm lane as well, but the jungle is definitely where it separates. But look at, speaking of melting, they melt the Shadow Tyrant and they're melting the T1 in the farm lane as well, looking to aggress this higher ground turret, but Fang's ultimate is able to just clear out those minion waves without getting a little bit too close or caught out onto the side of a Loop. There's the Unbridled Rage from Miffy. Is there going to be a bit of a connect? But no, Loops does not decide to push or play for that team fight, and Miffy's fallen here. This could be a huge detriment to their team fight and their base. Now that they lose the higher ground turret as well, we have a full strong force of LGD. Sun C to the back line as well, trying to just push and put pressure into the base. Luna is looking pretty low. She goes down. ABH is down. Kank is down. We see a 4-1 trade for the side of LGD. LGD looking to take a clean 3-0 from the side of Loop Esports. They have no minions here, but they are hoping that Doom can tank the crystal enough, and he did. That's the show the true power of the Doom pick. He's able to soak the crystal damage and able to take game 3. 3-0 Kin. Semi-finals?
Yeah, not what we expected here, Blam, but for sure, this was such a strong showing from LGD Malaysia, and you can see finally the emotions have relaxed, they're smiling a little more. And let's throw it over to Choo Choo in a quick bit, because I mean, this interview is going to be crazy, right? We expected a more even matchup, but LGD just broke all of the rules here.
Absolutely, but we're going to hand it over to Choo Choo for, it looks like, the losing interview.
Thank you, Carters. We're back on the live stage here in Somewhere of Lost Timor, which is going to be the Honor of Kings semi-finals here. And we have, unfortunately, for the Honor of Kings Invitational 2024 Season 2 journey, this is going to be the end of journey for the side of Team Loops. But it's not the end of everything yet for them, because you guys still have EWC in Riyadh. Now, coming up from the teams, thank you so much for such a performance, but what do you have to say for all your supporters and your mamas and moms out there that's been supporting you?
Bom jogo, foi muito bom e não acaba tudo aqui, né? Tem a competência IWC agora fim de mês, né? Vai continuar. E aqui o pessoal quer saber o que você quer dizer para todos os seus fãs e para suas mães que estão vendo você jogar aqui desde a Malásia. Uma mensagem final.
Eu quero agradecer a todo mundo que está assistindo, acompanhando a gente, porque, querendo ou não, foi uma carreira bem boa pra gente, sabe? A gente demonstrou o nosso potencial e poderia ter demonstrado mais, mas enfim. Quero agradecer a todo mundo que está assistindo, acompanhando, quem se tornou também torcedor da Lopes agora nessa carreira. O pessoal do Brasil que está assistindo, muito obrigado também. É de manhã lá, todos os jogos estão sendo de manhã, então eu agradeço de coração mesmo todo mundo que está assistindo. E é isso, agora vai ter a WC, a gente vai estar, se Deus quiser, melhor para chegar lá e obter um resultado melhor. E acho que é isso, sabe?
Want to thank everyone in every single time zone for their support. I think we did quite well all in all. It didn't come out the result we wanted, but I think we will keep on working so that we are more prepared for the EWC and impress everyone with everything that we can do.
Now we're looking forward for that. From my side, I need a favor for you guys. Can I have you guys shout, "See you in EWC"? Can we actually do that? Coming up from the shows.
In English.
Yeah, see you EWC. Okay.
Para quitar para a câmera, see you in EWC.
All of you guys. Okay. See you EWC. Okay.
Vai. 1, 2, 3.
See you in WC!
Thank you so much. Okay, but before that, we're gonna have a give a bow for all your audience out there. So.
Por favor, com a cabeça para frente. Muito obrigado.
Thank you so much, Ida, for the side of Loops. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. So, and also that was a great performance coming out from the side of Loops. And thank you so much, Andreas, per usual. But coming out from the winning team, I'm still gonna stand up there. LGD Malaysia. My, oh my. Now we have the Malaysian flag here. And welcome back, Jimmy. I miss you, buddy. Okay, can you guys stand a bit to the front? Nah, don't be shy. A bit to the front. Ke depan sikit, bang. Oh, okay. LGD are winner and the first team to go to the grand finals for the Honor of Kings Invitational 2024 Season 2. Congratulations once again. But I think everybody here, some of them first day coming here, some of them your new fan, some of them want to know about you. Can you reintroduce yourself? with your role. Can we start from the far right? Kalau korang kan kat sini ramai fan baru datang. Ada yang tak kenal lagi. Ada yang baru nak kenal. Boleh tak you bagi tahu nama you apa, role you apa?
Saya anak LGBT umur 19.
Single?
Saya main support.
Main support single tak?
Apa?
Single?
Single kan ya? Betul.
Okey, tak payah. 19 tahun single, misteri. Okey, next one. Coach pun sama juga. Coach pun sama.
Hai semua, nama saya Joker, LGD Joker. Saya coach dekat LGD. Nama saya LGD Jia. Saya main Farmland. Saya LGD Zihong. Saya main Milan.
Saya LGD Musangki. Saya main jungle.
Nama saya LGD Siang. Saya main Flashland. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera. Nama saya Jimmy. Saya seorang jungler.
Jimmy. Banyaklah fan Jimmy kat luar sana. Bila kita nak tengok Jimmy main?
Next time.
Next time. Dia tengah busy study, okay?
Ada peluang.
Tengah exam kan? Tengah exam. Okay, kita boleh pass mic dekat coach lah. Saya nak bertanya dengan coach. Tapi sebelum tu kita bagi kejap. Sorry coach. Musangking yang mana? Musangking? Tu mic. Tak apa. Pegang je. Okay, boleh. Musangking. Why is your name Musangking? Kenapa awak pilih Musangking?
Because our teammate like to eat musangking.
Siapa? Who the one who like most?
The coach very like.
Ini pandai ni ambil hati coach ni. So basically his name Musang King is because a lot of his teammates love eating Musang King. If you guys don't know, Musang King is a type of a fruit. We call it durian. The different variety is going to be Musang King. One of the most expensive one they like, you know. This no joke lah, this team. Okay, now we can pass to the coach. Ni coach orang Sabah ni. Okay, coach. Sekarang ni, untuk selepas ini korang akan menentang tim untuk di Grand Finals. Jadi persiapan daripada coach macam mana? So basically for this, you guys the first team to advance into the Grand Finals. How's the preparation for the team so far?
Actually, we just do as a normal. Yeah, because we so much confident we can go to the final. So right now what we are doing, just like all the step like in our planning. Yeah. So our planning is get 0 defeat in this tournament.
So far still 0.
Yes, so far right now it's still 0.
More Musang King for you after this maybe. Okay, but last but not least, what do you have for all your fans across the entire, like here we have, not just that, we want to test you today. Can you say in Malay, English and Chinese for all your supporters?
Malay dulu kan. Nama saya Joker, saya berlahir di Sabah. English, I used to be.
Cakap fan. Kita orang semua kena ada Joker. Yang support.
Yang support. Okay. So thank you everyone to come here to support us, and don't forget tomorrow 7 p.m. see you here again. 还有感谢在座的支持，然后我也看到举着我们的国旗的，也感谢你们，不管是在现场的还是在这个电视上的，都感谢你們支持。I give you 2 extra 啦 Cantonese。多謝大家嚟到呢度支持我哋因為冇你哋嘅支持，我哋做唔到今日。
Melayu jangan lupa Melayu.
Melayu sudah kan?
Tak, dia cakap nama je.
Boleh juga. Saya harap lagi satu. Saya punya dialek Hakka. Saya Hakka angin. Saya Hakka saya.
Satu lagi bang, Sabah.
Sabah. Boleh bah?
Boleh bah?
Ya.
Itu je?
Sumandak Tamburuling.
Bang, saya tak boleh cari makan dah macam ni bang. Saya tak boleh cari makan. You jadi host lepas ni lah Joker. Tapi can we have another cheer for Ajay? Wait. Okay, from my cue, okay? Can we shout one time LGD all together at my cue, okay? 1, 2, 3.
LGD. Actually, dia ada nak tanya.
Nak tanya, okay. Boleh tanya.
Who is the champion?
Thank you so much, everybody. We're going to toss it back to the Gustas. This is going to be LGD place for the next one.
Kalau kita biasanya ambil dulu skin.
Who are the champions, Kin?
It is going to be LGD. What a cheer.
Yes, I mean, for him to be one of the youngest on the team and have so much charisma is great to see, and great potential for himself as development as well. So again, props to LGD Gaming, the Malaysian team, absolutely smashing out another non-defeated match there against Loops when things seemed very tight in game one. Kin, they just proved themselves. They just turned the heat up by just even a notch, and LGD was sort of like, we're not sweating, we did good.
Yeah, they switch up the gears, and of course for Loops, this is the end of the journey for them in this invitational. But there, you will see them again in the Esports World Cup. I do have one sentence that I think will kind of summarize their status at this point. It's called Illis Voltaro Mais Fortes. They will come back stronger. Kaiba, I'm speaking to you as well as the coach of Loops.
Absolutely, and we are looking into the post-game stats of Game 3, and we're just seeing a little bit of the same old Sungun dance, unfortunately, onto the side of Loop Esports. The Maisha and Nui pick wasn't probably their most greatest pick, but then when, for the entire of the Season 2 Invitational, no matter what the team is, that Lady Chen pick has been so highly contested, and it seems that Red Side always have a huge favor because they get the first two picks, and it doesn't matter that they managed to secure that Mai as the first pick on the blue side. It just didn't quite pop off, I think, the way that Loops wanted it to.
Yeah, because there was no entry point, right? And I think one of the things that we have to point is how Zhe has been playing so well. He actually switched up his itemization this game, went for the breakthrough role instead. And with the Crimson Shadow going into the Radiance, he actually slowed down the movement speed of Loops as well, which hindered the combo of APH and Kanker coming in. The last moment of the fight, we saw them going the combo. It was beautiful, but it was just not enough because they were so far behind in terms of goal as well.
Yes, it was just unfortunate for them into Game 3, but I feel like when you try the same comp over again, especially like against LGD Gaming, and they changed theirs ever so subtly. They changed the Liam Poe, they changed the Kaiser to the Dude as well, so there's not really a lot that LGD can't do, it seems, in this tournament, and rightfully, as I said, towards the end there, they're already claiming themselves as the champions, but looking at the damage outputs for both of these teams, the Mai Shiranui actually does the most damage, but it just had the least, like, game or kill closing potential, it seemed. The amount of getaways we saw in that game, Kin, was a little bit hard to watch at times.
Yep, it's difficult, right? And at this point, I think it's really clear why. Because at this point, I think Xiang was actually having the Succubus cloak already, so he had not just magical defense, he had additional magic shield from the item as well. So it was really hard for Loops to kind of deal damage against it. And Xiang always made it a point to engage onto the backlines of Loops, so it made life really difficult. And at the same time, JR had already hit his full stride, stealing 48,000 in this match itself. And with the help of Zhe, like I mentioned earlier in the game, they did not manage to force his hand to use the longevity at any point. So it was not really ideal for Loops. They needed more time.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see there as well with LGD, just as it disappears, the team fight rate was a lot better at the Game 3, and you could really see it in Game 3, the fact that they weren't losing many of their turrets as well. So actually, yes, 2 turrets were taken, but then to 7 of LGD taken down is not to be compared, it seems, but a little bit less focus in the jungle really allowed them to take those towers as well, like we saw towards the mid-game on Loops, where they took the Tyrant but then lost the Clash T1, but then it gambled into Clash T2, and then when LGD got the gains from that Clash lane fight, they was like, hey, Shadow Tyrant's going to be up in any second now, so we may as well just wait for that, get 2 Clash lane turrets, and then we're going to be way more ahead in damage, gold, and lane priority. And speaking of jungle, I think it would be a misunderstanding to not give Musang King an MVP in this series, as he's played jungle pretty much to perfection in all 3 of these matches.
Yeah, 38,000 damage dealt along with the corresponding 39,000 damage taken as well. He was the human shield for the side of LGD, providing them with so much space in order to, take the distractions, give the distractions to the side of Loops. You will see here in the gameplay as well.
Yeah, we just saw so much fruitfulness on the side of LGD, but we saw so much denial on the side of Loop Esports, just like we saw there that 2v1 was able to get out of there. The Sun Sea was able to set sail and live another day on the side of LGD, but then we saw First Blood go over to Je on the side of LGD, which seemed like a little bit of a disrespect, a little bit of violation for the side of Loop Esports, and then Mithy was just trying to soak the damage in the mid lane, just falls down there. I honestly feel like in Game 3, Kin, I don't know if you feel the same sentiment, but Mithy was trying to set up some plays, but the plays just didn't actually follow through, like we saw towards the end in the farm lane, when the high ground turret is being taken, Mithy dives in, but then the rest of the team was like, whoa, no, let's not, and then they stayed behind that high ground turret, and then ultimately it closed out the match.
Yeah, he was trying to open room for Zeri to come in as well, but unfortunately at this point they were just too far ahead on the side of LGD. And LGD, like you see Mithy, the moment JR is able to melt Mithy in such a state, the game is pretty much over, especially when they have entry. And I really like this. This was the moment I was talking about. They had the combinations in accordance with Tempest as well, but it was just too little too late at this point.
The fact that it was able to take Game 3 Crystal as well without any minions was definitely a kind of like a Team Secret no smite. It was like, hey, let's just one up that. Let's have no minions at the Gorge Crystal and let's still take it. And that just shows you that why LGD are now your first finalists going into tomorrow's match, and it's all going to be down to this next series, Kin. TS versus VKS. I was excited for this match. This should be creme de la creme shortly.
Oh, for sure. So in our first edition of the Brazil-Malaysia matchup, we are going to have Malaysia coming out in the grand finals as one of the finalists. Now, second game, of course, Vivo Key Stars, the strongest of CHOC-BR, but also the winners of Season 1, look to prove that they are the deserving ones to sit beside LGD and maybe look to crush them in the grand finals.
We certainly hope so anyway. I mean, a Brazilian versus a Malaysia team in the grand finals would just be a rolling theme throughout the Season 2 invitational knockout stages, which would be really cool because sometimes we don't see many of the Western teams get this far in tournaments like this, so for them to even get into the semi-finals, I feel like really shows dividends for the scene of Brazil and obviously the growing scene of the rest of the West. So fair play to all the teams that managed to get into knockout stages, didn't quite get out of the chopping board of the quarterfinals, but hey, these semi-final matches have been absolutely great. I mean, I honestly thought that Loops would have done a little bit better than that Game 1. It seemed like a very promising start to Game 1 in that whole series, but then it kind of just teetered off towards Game 2, Game 3, as LGG just applied more pressure to the wound.
Well, like I like to say, there are facts and then there are opinions as well. So right now, the opinion is Team Secret as well as Vivo Key Stars. It should be a very tight match. Right? We thought the same of the first series itself, but the facts of the matter is LGD was just that much better. So let's take a look if Team Secret does have the secret formula to deal with Vivo Key Stars. Now this will be the end of us for now. We'll see you back in a bit. Get ready for the best series of the day.
Welcome back everybody to the semi-finals of Season 2 Invitational Honor of Kings Tournament. Today you have me, Blem, and with me since the previous series is Mr. Kim Do-Fu. How are we feeling going into semi-finals match 2?
Great. At this point, we're hoping that it's going to be an exciting match between the two teams, and of course, there are very huge expectations right coming out. VKS, of course, as we all know, the champions of Season 1. But Team Secret, no slouch either. They have been showing off pretty significant strategies and execution. So I think we have a pretty intense match in our hands.
Oh yes, definitely, and it's getting only more and more intensifying with these matches because when this tournament ends, our next one will begin very shortly, and it is none other than the Esports World Championship, MSI, and obviously this is one of our sponsors for the Season 2 Invitational, so those that have been here since day 1 of Season 2 know that the top 8 teams get to go through to EWC MSI, where they will hopefully compete against the KPL Dream Team, which is going to be super duper interesting to see how these teams fare against the KPL Dream Team. So once again, thanks EWC for sponsoring.
Yep, that's right. So this won't be the last time you see them as well. Now, there's another thing I want you to pay attention to, and that actually is the Infinix GT20 Pro. So you pay attention to the game, right? But do you pay attention to the frame rate? That's actually one of the benefits of the phone. You will be able to play the game at 120 FPS. That's one of the smooth transitions of the game. So every time you get a kill, every time you get an assist, you will see it crystal clear with the smooth frame rate as well.
Yes, everything's been smooth up until now, so again, really just shows the potential of the GT20 Pro from Infinix, and smooth gameplay has what the semi-finals has all been about, it seems, Kin, but not quite as smooth for Loops, as they did lose 3-0, but very, very smooth for LGD. Loops, however, did make them shake a little bit, especially in that game 1, but it seems like LGD was just level-headed. They knew what they had to do to up the ante in game 2 and game 3, and just clearly took their way to a 3-0. But that's not the only Brazil versus Malaysia matchup we have today, is it, Ken?
Yep, it is going to be Team Secret going up against VK as Vivo Heat Stars. At this point, we're looking to shake up the arena over at Sunway Velocity Mall, and at this point, it really is who can stand their ground in all of this quaking.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't really want to call it just yet because we don't want to cast a curse, do we, kid? We don't want to do any of that for these next two teams. I mean, Team Secret have had a little bit of a more interesting journey to Season 2 because they lost against LGT in their normal qualifier, but then they had the last chance qualifier and they came out top of all the teams. Think of the Kings, and all you can see is these players here really showing some respect for their name as they